view regarding Illuminism and profusion, and as a result of having this view, Abu Hamid Ghazali is called Hujjat ul-Islam. After that Dr. Sabihi questions the justifiability of keeping out the jurisprudence, exegetes, and scholastic theologians from the ranks of the firmly rooted in knowledge, and regarding only the Sufis as being in that rank. Does it not increase the scope of profane talks of mystics? While the fact is that the principles of Illuminism and Gnosticism are as harmful to Islamic beliefs as the self-made problems of the scholastic theologians. 20 Despite this, the Sufi school of thought has left a considerable heritage regarding Islamic beliefs. 21. 4. Perceptive and experimental deduction. It was an absolutely new type of thinking with regard to Islamic beliefs, and it is mostly followed by scholars and intellectuals who are more influenced by the Western world. These scholars and intellectuals come from Egypt, India, Iraq, and those countries that had been British, American, French and Japanese colonies. People who follow this style of thinking have a special opinion regarding the means of human recognition, and they rely more on perceptive and experimental deductions. In their view, the ancient method of thinking and the logic of Aristotle does not have any importance. They have tried to subject metaphysics and divine recognition to scientific and experimentative criterion. 22. The scholars of this school interpret divine miracle in material terms and say that prophethood is nothing but human perfection. Some researchers have compiled whole books on this style of thought. 23. 4. Example: the writings of Sir Saeed Ahmad Khan. 24. Sir Saeed has proved himself a fan of the Western world in his tafsir of Quran. His tafsir is more in consonance with modern scientific discoveries. Though Sir Saeed cannot be called the main standard bearer of this school of thought, it must be mentioned that he has adopted an apologetic attitude with regard to the Quran and has gone to great lengths to prove that the Holy Quran is in complete support of modern science. Tough. No particular boundary can be fixed for this school of thought. It is perfectly reflected in different religious issues and modern scientific essays. 25. 5. Conventional reasoning. The basic elements of conventional reasoning are present in the teachings of all al-Bayt, without which it is not possible to understand the Islamic beliefs correctly. This method of reasoning is based on the Quran and Sunnah, as the Holy Quran says, "The nature made by Allah in which He has made men. There is no altering of Allah's creation. That is the right religion, but most people do not know." 30. It is announced in this verse that the best way to obtain the understanding of divine realities, Ma'rifah 26, is through the nature of man. And the first condition for nature is that it should not have been changed by adverse social conditioning and poor upbringing, and not contaminated by succumbing to selfish desires and useless debates and discussions. The majority of people cannot realize this fact because their nature has become clouded by prejudice, and their obstinacy is a hurdle in understanding realities. Traditions have also explained the significance of a perfect nature. The Holy Prophet says, "Every child is born on human nature. Then its parents make it a Jew, Christian or Magian." 27. The conventional method includes all logical, religious texts, intuition, Illuminism and scientific methods. The specialty of this school is that it does not rely on only one method. Rather, in keeping with divine guidance, it used any method that is required. The tawfiq, good sense of guidance, is from the Almighty Allah, as He mentions in the Quran. They think that they lay you under an obligation by becoming Muslims. Say, lay me not under obligation by your Islam. Rather, Allah lays you under an obligation by guiding you to the faith if you are truthful. 49. 17. Another verse reads, "And were it not for Allah's grace upon you and His mercy, not one of you would have ever been pure." 24. 21. A special characteristic of this school of thought is that its followers avoid debates of scholastic theology and doubts and uncertainties. They narrate traditions from the Imams of all al-Bayt, in which they have prohibited useless debates regarding religion, and they know that their opponents, despite having the same religion, are having differences in hundreds of issues. 28. In the traditions of all al-Bayt, nature is sometimes referred to as tinat, essence, and sometimes aqle matbu, agreeable intellect. For more information, please study collection of traditions. 29. Method of all al-Bayt, in understanding the principles of faith. In the debates on matters related to faith, the sources are of great importance. Previously we had stated that the sources of Islamic beliefs are the Quran and traditions. The main difference between the school of all al-Bayt and other schools is that the former under no circumstances leaves aside Quran and traditions and solves every problem through the guidance of the Quran and traditions. It is not prepared to accord preference to any personal desire or prejudice over the Quran and traditions. In the matter of deriving the practical laws also, this school considers the Quran and traditions to be the fundamental sources. That is the reason for these. 1. The depth of the views of this school of thought can be gauged from the fact that its followers never accord priority to personal deduction ijtihad over authentic texts nas. And they exercise care to see that the nas should be without contradiction, or if it is present, it should not negate the meaning of the text. Other sects are not very particular about texts. There are even some schools that are seen to resort to weak reasonings in trying to free themselves from the obligation of following texts. His Eminence, Amir al-Mu'minin, said to Harith ibn Haut, "Indeed you have not yet recognized the truth, then how can you recognize the people of truth, and you have not yet recognized falsehood, then how can you recognize the people of falsehood?" 32. In the school of all al-Bayt, nothing is accorded priority over nas, subject to the condition that the nas should be absolute and is related by a large number of narrators. Mutawatir. This is the fundamental requirement for Islamic beliefs because conjectures and possibilities cannot establish fundamental principles of faith. Keeping in view the style of the followers of all al-Bayt, the Salafi group must also reform their attitude. Because they rely on weak or solitary traditions with regard to their beliefs, and they are very fanatical about their school of thought. Based on some weak narrations, they accuse some Muslims to be infidels. They should not be merely fond of traditions but must also distinguish the traditions by evaluating their respective authenticity, generality, particularity, and ambiguity. They should also research the antecedents of the narrators. 3. The Islamic beliefs can be divided into two types: essential and academic. Essentials are those that if one denies any of them, one goes out of the pale of Islam. For example, belief in monotheism, Tawheed, prophethood, Nubuwwah, and Judgment Day, Qiyamah. They are called Dururiyat-e-Din, essentials of religion. The academic beliefs mean those in which there may be need for research and evidence, and in which there is difference of opinion among the leaders of different sects. Thus, those who deny the essentials are infidels, whereas one who denies academic principles of faith is not. 4. Analogy and personal discretion are not allowed in matters of beliefs. 5. The school of all al-Bayt also believes that the demands of intellect are according to authentic texts, subject to the condition that both of them should be considered in an objective manner, and that a mere possibility should not be presented as a certainty. Clear logic should not be replaced with weak text, and authentic and widely related narrations should not be given the same weightage as a solitary report. 6. All such inferences and deductions are unlawful, and they aim to spread heresies. 7. Based on absolute proofs, the school of all al-Bayt considers all the prophets and the 12 imams to be infallible, and when something is proved to be from them, it is obligatory to believe in it. A jurisprudent mujtahid can reach a correct decision on jurisprudence, but it is also possible for him to err, even though if errs in doing so, while he has fulfilled all the requirements for research in jurisprudence, he is excused. 8. Traditionists are present among the ummah. But so are those who are inspired divinely, and those who have true dreams. Through these channels they perceive realities, but all these matters need proofs. In matters of faith and practice they also have a position, but conditions are prescribed for that. 9. If a debate, held with piety, good manner and decorum, is intended to spread enlightenment, recognition of truth and to promote beliefs, it is worthy of praise. But to hold a debate only to show off one's knowledgeableness is despicable. During a debate, one should never say anything that one is not certain of. 10. The school of all al-Bayt dislikes heresies and anything that is an innovation bid'ah. that is promoted in the name of religion, while it is not from religion. Some people consider